People talk about wanting peace like it's some magical state they'll one day stumble into, as if it floats down gently and lands on their shoulder when life is finally perfect. But that's not how it works. Peace doesn't arrive as a reward for doing nothing. It's not a passive experience. It's not the absence of problems. Peace is earned, and not just once. It's a battle you choose to win every day through the boundaries you draw. You see, peace costs something. Every time you say yes to something that pulls you off center, whether it's a draining conversation, a toxic relationship, or someone else's chaos, you're writing a check from your own emotional account. The price, your inner stability. And too many people are out here bankrupting their spirit because they're afraid to set a boundary, afraid to be misunderstood, afraid to disappoint someone. But what's the point of pleasing everyone if the cost is your own sanity? Think about how many times you've overcommitted, how often you've agreed to something out of guilt or fear of confrontation, only to feel tension rise in your chest as the time approaches. That's not peace. That's silent suffering. That's the voice inside you whispering, "You're betraying yourself again." And the truth is, no one else is responsible for protecting your peace. That's your job. That's your responsibility. A boundary isn't a wall, it's a door with a lock. It says, "You're welcome here, but not with that energy, not with those demands, not if it costs me my calm." And here's the hard part, some people won't like it. They'll accuse you of changing, they'll call you cold, distant, selfish. But what they really mean is, "I can't access you like I used to." And that's okay. You're not here to be endlessly available to everyone. You're here to protect the space that allows you to think clearly, act with intention, and live aligned with who you are. The people who get upset when you draw a boundary are usually the ones who benefited from your lack of them. They liked the version of you that bent until it broke, that said yes with a smile while dying inside. But growth requires discomfort, and sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is, "No, not anymore." This isn't about being selfish. It's about being wise. Because when you constantly deplete yourself, you show up to life with a fractured presence. You lose focus. You react instead of respond. You confuse activity for progress. And suddenly, your days feel like you're sprinting underwater. That's not peace. That's survival, and you weren't made to just survive. Peace is a form of strength. It takes clarity to know what drains you. It takes courage to say no to things that once made you feel needed. It takes practice to choose silence over the noise, presence over pressure, discipline over impulse. Boundaries are how you train that strength. They're how you keep your power from leaking into everything that doesn't serve your future. But don't expect others to understand the boundaries you set. They weren't built for their comfort. They were built for your protection, your growth, your sanity. Some people will adapt, some will walk away. Let them, because peace isn't found in who stays. It's found in what you no longer tolerate. You get one mind, one soul, one shot at this life. Why hand pieces of yourself to anyone who chips away at your stillness? Why invite chaos into a space you've worked so hard to make calm? Every day is a new chance to honor your boundaries, to check in with yourself and ask, does this deserve my energy? Does this bring me closer to the life I want? Or does it distract me from it? The truth is, the world will always have noise. People will always have opinions. There will always be demands. But your peace, that sacred, rare state of internal steadiness, is yours to guard. No one will protect it for you. No one will hand it to you on a silver platter. You have to choose it, fight for it, and build the habits that preserve it. Because once you realize peace is the most expensive thing you own, you stop giving it away so cheaply. Every day, You wake up to a world overflowing with voices, opinions, energies, and influences, all clamoring for a piece of your attention. The truth is, what you allow inside your mind and heart shapes who you become far more than any external circumstance ever could. It's easy to forget this because we often think that life just happens to us, that we're victims of our surroundings, reacting to what comes our way. But the reality is much more powerful. You have a gatekeeper inside, and it's up to you to decide what passes through. Imagine your mind like a garden. If you constantly let in toxic thoughts, negativity, and distractions, those are the weeds that will take root and grow wild. If you invite in clarity, focus, and positivity, you cultivate flowers and fruit. It's not about denying reality or pretending life is always good. It's about making conscious choices about what you nurture in your inner world. Because what you nurture is exactly what will shape your character, your emotions, and ultimately your destiny. Think about the conversations you entertain in your mind after a difficult encounter. Do you replay harsh words, fueling anger and resentment, or do you shift your focus to understanding, growth, and the lessons that situation offers? What you replay matters because it rewires your brain. Your neural pathways are forged through repetition. If you let in stories of victimhood and despair, you become someone trapped in that narrative. But if you cultivate resilience and perspective, you become someone capable of rising above. This idea extends far beyond just thoughts. It applies to the people you allow into your life, the media you consume, and the habits you adopt. Every song you listen to, every news story you read, every social interaction you engage in, each one quietly molds your mindset. Some influences will elevate you, inspire you, challenge you to be better. Others will drain you, limit you, keep you stuck in cycles of fear or doubt. It might sound simple, but protecting your peace means fiercely guarding your inputs as much as your outputs. We often underestimate how much of a filter we can apply to what we let in. We think we have to accept everything around us to be realistic or engaged, but that's not true. You don't have to tune into every drama, every complaint, every source of stress that the world throws at you. The moment you start curating what you absorb, you reclaim your power. You begin to decide who you become by choosing your mental diet with intention. It's also crucial to remember that what you let in isn't only external, it's internal too. Your self-talk, your beliefs about yourself, the stories you tell about your past, your fears about the future, these inner voices have as much power as any external influence. When you fill your mind with doubt or self-criticism, you become a prisoner of those thoughts. When you choose kindness, encouragement, and possibility, you free yourself to become something greater. Sometimes this means cutting ties or stepping back from relationships that erode your peace. It means limiting your exposure to negativity, even if it's disguised as entertainment or just the way things are. It means practicing discipline to protect your time and energy. That's not selfishness, that's wisdom. You wouldn't pour polluted water into a glass you plan to drink from. So why pour toxic thoughts and people into your mind and heart? And don't forget how your environment shapes you. The spaces you spend time in, the books you read, the habits you cultivate, these things form the backdrop of your growth. If you surround yourself with chaos, clutter, and distraction, it's much harder to find peace and clarity. But if you create an environment that supports your goals and nurtures your spirit, you make it easier for your best self to emerge. One of the most powerful realizations is that you don't have to be a passive recipient of influence. You can be a conscious curator. You can choose which voices to amplify and which to quiet. You can protect your mind like a fortress, letting in only what strengthens your resilience and fuels your purpose. This takes discipline and awareness, but it's the path to true freedom, because here's the secret: your peace, your power, your identity, they all hinge on this daily choice about what you let in. When you guard your mind, you guard your life. When you filter what you absorb, you decide who you become. And when you do that, you stand tall, unshaken by the noise, anchored in your own strength. What you allow inside is not just information, it's transformation. Choose wisely. There's a profound truth that many overlook. Chaos outside your mind only has the power you give it inside. The storms raging around you, whether they're personal conflicts, financial struggles, global crises, or everyday stressors, can feel overwhelming. But here's the secret that separates the strongest from the rest. Chaos around you means nothing if there's calm within. This calm is not about denying the turmoil or pretending everything is fine. It's about cultivating an inner sanctuary that remains untouched by the noise, a place where your mind remains steady and your spirit unshaken no matter what's happening around you. Think about it. In life, you will face moments when everything seems to spiral out of control. Maybe it's a sudden setback, a heated argument, or a pressure-filled day where everything goes wrong. The temptation is to let those external circumstances dictate your internal state, to react in kind with anxiety, fear, or anger. But the truth is, the external chaos only controls you if you let it. When your mind stays calm, when your inner world is stable, those external storms lose their grip on you. Imagine a calm lake. If the wind blows hard and waves crash, the surface might get disturbed temporarily, but the lake's depth remains still and steady beneath. Your mind can be that lake. The surface can ripple with the events of the day, but deep inside, your core remains undisturbed. This depth of calm is a fortress. It's the place where true strength lives. It's where you access clarity, wisdom, and resilience, not because the world is peaceful, but because you've trained yourself to find peace regardless of the world's noise. Now, cultivating that calm is not a one-time achievement, it's a continuous practice. It means learning to observe your thoughts and emotions without being swept away by them. When chaos erupts, your first instinct might be to react immediately, to dive into the turmoil. But pause for a moment, breathe. Remind yourself that no matter how fierce the storm outside, you can choose your response. This pause is your power. It's where control begins. Maintaining calm amid chaos also gives you a unique advantage in any situation. When others are frantic, reactive, and overwhelmed, your calm mind sees clearly. It notices opportunities hidden beneath the surface tension. It crafts solutions where others only see problems. It hears truths buried under the noise. In this way, calm is not just a state of mind. It's a weapon, a tool for navigating life's challenges with grace and effectiveness. And remember, calm doesn't mean silence or passivity. It's not about bottling up your feelings or ignoring reality. Instead, it's about holding space for your emotions without letting them hijack your decisions. It's about meeting difficulty with steady breath and clear eyes, not frantic energy. This kind of calm allows you to act, not out of panic, but from purpose and presence. It's the difference between fighting chaos with chaos and responding with composed strength. Consider those moments when you've witnessed someone in crisis, but noticed how a calm presence changed the entire dynamic. That calmness often calms others, shifts energy, and opens pathways forward. It's contagious in the best way. This shows that calm within is not just for your benefit. It radiates outward, influencing the environment and people around you. It turns chaos into manageable complexity, It's also important to recognize that inner calm doesn't mean you're isolated from the world or indifferent to what's happening. On the contrary, it means you're fully present and engaged but not consumed. You accept that turmoil is part of life, but you refuse to let it define you. You understand that storms will come and go, but your inner peace can endure if you protect it fiercely. Building this calm is a skill, and like any skill, it requires practice and patience. Start small. Practice moments of stillness throughout your day. Notice when your mind starts to spin into worry or agitation and gently bring it back to the present. Develop rituals that center you, whether it's deep breathing, meditation, or simply a walk outside. Over time, these small acts build a resilient calm that stands firm even when life shakes you. There will always be noise, distraction, and chaos outside your control. That's guaranteed. But the space between stimulus and response, that is yours. In that space, you have the freedom to choose calm, to anchor yourself, to hold steady. This is your greatest power. This is how you turn external chaos from a threat into a challenge you can meet with dignity. So when the world feels like it's spinning out of control, remember, it's not the chaos around you that defines your peace. It's the calm within you that holds everything together. Guard that calm, nurture it, and watch how unshakable you become. True power lies not in reacting to chaos, but in remaining calm through it all. There's something you have to realize if you want to protect your peace and stay grounded in a world that constantly tries to knock you off balance. People who try to disturb your peace are often at war with themselves. It's not about you, it's about them. Their need to provoke, control, criticize, or inject negativity into your space is a reflection of the inner chaos they haven't resolved. And the sooner you understand this, the easier it becomes to hold on to your calm, your power, your clarity. When someone lashes out, when they try to bait you into conflict, it's usually not because they see something wrong in you. It's because they can't face something in themselves. Think about that. Their aggression is often a projection of their own pain. Their manipulation, a defense against their own fear. Their loudness, a cover for their internal silence. And if you fall for it, if you react, retaliate, or absorb it, you end up carrying pain that never belonged to you in the first place. You're going to encounter people who throw their anger around like a weapon, hoping it sticks to someone else. You'll meet people who are constantly negative, constantly complaining, constantly trying to pull others into their drama. Not because they truly want to connect, but because conflict is the only language their wounded mind speaks. When someone is internally unsettled, peace feels like a threat. Calmness reminds them of what they don't have. And so they try to stir your still water just to feel less alone in their storm. But this is where your strength is tested, because your job is not to fix them, explain yourself, or trade insults. Your job is to protect your energy like it's sacred, because it is. Not everyone deserves a response. Not every invitation to chaos should be accepted. Some things are best met with silence. Some people are best met with distance. You are under no obligation to carry the emotional burdens of others just because they haven't found a way to carry them themselves. When you react emotionally to someone's negativity, you surrender control. You give them access to your state of mind. But when you remain grounded, when you refuse to be pulled in, something powerful happens. They lose their grip on you. Their tactics don't work. Their chaos doesn't stick. That in itself becomes your response, not revenge, not retaliation, just peace they can't touch. There's a quiet kind of authority in this, because people expect you to mirror their dysfunction. They expect a reaction, and when they don't get it, when you remain calm, collected, and focused, it disarms them, not because you've defeated them, but because you've refused to participate in their war. You've chosen peace not out of weakness, but because you've seen that peace is strength under control. You don't have to prove anything to people who thrive on conflict. You just have to keep showing up as someone who won't be shaken. And now, this doesn't mean you become cold or detached. It means you become wise. It means you can see someone's pain without absorbing it. You can understand without entangling. Compassion doesn't mean allowing people to disrupt your life. Forgiveness doesn't mean welcoming toxicity. You can be kind and still keep your boundaries strong. That's maturity. That's balance. You begin to notice patterns too. People who live in emotional turmoil often seek others to validate that experience. They want company in their misery, and they will test you through words, actions, subtle jabs, or outright confrontation. But you don't have to dance to that music. You have the right to choose your internal soundtrack. You have the right to say, "I see your pain, but I won't let it become mine." That's the kind of clarity that turns emotional landmines into stepping stones. And sometimes, walking away is the most powerful thing you can do. Not because you're running, but because you understand that not all battles are worth your presence. Silence isn't surrender, it's strategy. It's saying, "I know who I am. I know what I value, and I will not lower myself to a fight that only exists because someone else hasn't made peace with their own reflection." So the next time someone tries to drag you into their storm, take a breath. Look beyond the surface. See the wound, the insecurity, the fear behind their aggression, and instead of reacting, just remain still. Just stand in your peace like it's armor, because people who are at war with themselves don't need another opponent. They need an example of what peace looks like. Protect your peace like it's the most valuable thing you own, because it is.